President Obama announcing his rejection of the proposal to build the massive oil pipeline that would run from Canada to the Gulf Coast, citing environmental concerns.
Well, Republican Representative from Arizona, David Schweikert, joins us now with what this means for the U.S. economy. Congressman, first of all, to the environmentalists, this oil is not going to disappear. It's likely going to go to China, where it will be burned in a much dirtier way than it would have been burned in the U.S., therefore creating more pollution than if it had arrived at our shores through the pipeline, right?
You absolutely nailed it. Look, we need to have a moment of honesty here. This had nothing to do with the environment. It had to do with money. The reality of is, we'll call it big green. The businesses, the investors in the green economy made it very clear to the Democratic Party and the president that many of them would withhold campaign money if the president approved this pipeline. What you've just seen is a classic case of this White House. It's politics and political money all the time.
Well, what you've also seen is a president who said he'd take the advice of the State Department and apparently didn't, because as far as I understand it, they signed off on it, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, and it goes so much further than that. In the previous couple of years, I sat on the Technology and Science Committee, and we had lots of testimony about the underlying science. It's actually the left that has made it very clear that if the facts do not line up with the political expediency, they're going with political expediency.
Yeah. All right. Well, now, it probably wasn't a coincidence he announced this on a day when the job numbers happen to be pretty good. Maybe it was. Who knows? But the fact is, the politics of all this are going to be interesting for the Democrats, because a lot of unions are lined up against the administration's final stance. We have the Laborers International, AFL-CIO Building and Construction Trades, International Brotherhood of Teamsters. The list goes on. What does this mean for historically connected unions in the Democratic Party?
Look, you have to make sort of this calculation, and I think this is what the White House and the Democratic Party are making. It's where do they get more political resources, where do they get more help, and who's voting for them anyway? The trade unions...
Just to put a fine point on it, you're suggesting that these unions have nowhere else to go. Despite the decision on Keystone, they'll still go Democratic?
Well, many of them, at least their leadership will. We know the Teamsters have demonstrated a certain level of independence over the last 30, 40 years. But you have the trade unions that want to dig holes, drive trucks, cut things down, and they've basically been abandoned by the environmental money side of the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
Look, the argument I'm making is the science is obvious that the Keystone pipeline, the oil going through the United States and being refined here, would be much better for the environment than being refined in China. So this had to be about the political money and the political resources.
Right. And we're going to lose out on a lot of jobs to boot.
Absolutely.
Representative David Schweikert, who's in Arizona today, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.